Starting in alphabetical order with the Atlanta Hawks, Cam Reddish, 22-year-old entering year 3, one of the most forgotten players in the 2019 class. Very inconsistent start, limited to 26 games year 2, was the starting small forward last regular season game February 21st. Didn't suit up until the Bucks series due to injury, had a 21-point game 6, knocked down 6 of 7 threes, showed great promise. A breakout Cam has all the tools to average between 14 to 18 a game next season to help Atlanta compete and make another long run. Reddish has the highest ceiling outside of Trey and John Collins, valuable on deep but struggles shooting the ball. If his stroke improves to 45% from the field, Atlanta will more than likely win 50 plus games. Boston Celtics Aaron Nesmith, who was an absolute bucket in Summer League, averaged over 17 and 6 on 50% shooting. The loss of Kemba and Evan Fournier creates more opportunity for the second-year wing. Former lottery pick, barely cracked the rotation a year ago, went from averaging under 5 points, can even become a most improved player candidate, will turn 22 by the start of the season, proving he's a lot better than most of the upcoming rookies. Celtics desperately seeking for new firepower outside of Brown and Tatum. The extra burst will allow them to compete in the East again. Brooklyn Nets Nicholas Claxton. Nets way more effective with him on the floor last season than the old DeAndre Jordan. Claxton averaged over 6 and 5, 6'11", will be needed for rim protection, getting valuable playing time for a contender. The 22-year-old will have a Jordan Bell type role when Golden State were winning their rings, the best rim protector Brooklyn has. Charlotte Hornets, the 23-year-old PJ Washington, who arguably had the worst summer of all players, an absolute travesty the poor decisions he's made, costing millions from staying the same first 2 seasons and making $4.2 million for 2022 and a team option for 23. You bet Washington will absolutely ball out and try to get as close to a max contract as possible. That's one way to save him long term. Basketball will help distract all the outside noises, known for his decision off the court rather than anything he's accomplished on the floor in a Hornets uniform. You type in PJ Washington on Google, it's nothing basketball related. Sadly, all about his personal life. $200K a month for the next 18 years, exactly $43,200,000. A huge contract would be clutch. As long as he put up good numbers and helps Charlotte mix the playoffs, will be a step closer to securing the bag. Chicago Bulls Lonzo Ball, who's been considered a breakout candidate for several years now after enormous pressure with LA to getting traded to an awful Pelicans franchise, has the right type of player in Levine to dish out sweet dimes, improved to the high 30s as a 3-point shooter last 2 seasons, doesn't have to be one of the main 3 options. With Levine and DeRozan lacking defense, something Lonzo's great at, the soon-to-be 24-year-old will need to add some of the fearless firepower he lacks that his younger brother already has. While Patrick Williams another possibility of a breakout year. Cleveland Cavaliers Isaac Okoro. After a year in, the 6'5" 2-guard ended the season, averaging over 16 points, over 4 boards last 12 games for the team. Although he struggled from deep, shooting 29%, many first-year guys tend to struggle from outside. His production should likely go up. Dallas Mavericks Moses Brown, a nice addition, undiscovered gem by OKC after undrafted, averaged over 8 and 8 in 21 minutes last season, started 32 of 43 games. The 22-year-old will get easy buckets from Doncic. Some casuals haven't heard of Moses yet, even had one 2020 game, 4 20-plus point games, an intriguing prospect. Also 7'2", perhaps he can average 13 and 10 and play a DeAndre Ayton type role, although he's nowhere close to the player DA is yet. Denver Nuggets Bo, the 21-year-old slow career start. Mike Malone don't like to play his young guys, but Bo very impressive Summer League, especially the outside shooting. For somebody 7'2" to shoot threes, still needs to round up his all-around game. It will be up to his work ethic and practice to see how Coach Malone feels about him. Bo and Jokic on the floor at the same time, always interesting. Detroit Pistons Hamidou Diallo, part of the OKC trade for Ski Mikhailou and a pick, started 20 games for the rebuilding franchise, averaged over 11 points. The 45th pick in the 2018 draft went from averaging under 4 points to 7 points to over 11, signed a 2-year deal worth $10.4 million, perhaps a big bargain, a win-win for the franchise. Golden State Warriors, 1 year on his belt, the 20-year-old center averaged around 11 and 6. Now with Klay Thompson returning, Wiseman won't have too much pressure load and just be a role player to crash the glass. fast, catch easy lobs, in position for putbacks. With Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball making most of the rookie headlines for 2021, Wiseman, the forgotten one, ended the season with injury, missed many games, will need to improve defensively, has all the tools as a rim protector with that 7'6" wingspan. There was a reason why he was the #1 player in high school, having played just 3 collegiate games. Wiseman should make a leap given the organization and situation, playing a role to winning basketball. Houston Rockets, Kevin Porter Jr., whose short breakout with the Rockets in year 2 felt somewhat unnoticed and underwhelming, mainly since the team wasn't winning much games. The 21-year-old put himself in position to get out of Cleveland, find real playing time for a rebuilding team, to average over 16.5 points. Many still sleeping on him. 2K rated him 77, wasn't too happy about that. Porter Jr. knows he's got game and exciting to watch, shows he's more than worthy of being a starter, became the youngest player to record a 50-point, 10-assist game, has a lot of explosiveness. Don't be shocked to see him average around 20 points. Indiana Pacers, Caris LeVert, because he hasn't been healthy each of the last 3 years, recovering from kidney concerns. Things appear to be taken care of. The 27-year-old should be entering the early stages of his prime, put up 20 points in 35 Pacer games last season, should become the team's closer. When consistent, LeVert's capable of going on hot stretches, also a much improved passer. With the team always appearing to be a star away from getting over the first round exits, LeVert appears to have more upside. I'm sure many Pacer fans rather have him over Victor Oladipo any day of the week. Los Angeles Clippers, we already seen a preview of his breakout. The soon-to-be 25-year-old Terrence Mann absolutely destroyed Rudy Gobert. The unsung hero helped the Clippers advance to its first ever conference finals. Mann averaged just 7 points last season, up from 2.4 as a rookie, played big minutes in the playoffs, while PG getting a little older and Kawhi out for likely most of the season. Expect Mann to average around a dozen points and become one of the main options. Clippers still expected to compete for a playoff spot regardless whether Kawhi plays. Los Angeles Lakers, oldest team in basketball, only 6 guys below 30. I'm going with Talen Horton-Tucker over Malik Monk, since I don't believe Monk will play that much. Once Monk struggles, Vogel will simply bench him for a few games and let the vets shoot their open jumpers. The soon-to-be 21-year-old THT show promise and signs of being a potential full-time starter in the league, averaged 9 points off the bench last season, fearless and confident. At night, the Lakers will look old given their age to save energy for the playoffs, but Horton-Tucker with the fresh legs will have moments to carry the team at times. Memphis Grizzlies, Jared Jackson Jr., injury throughout year 3, played just 11 games. Triple J will need to be a viable second option if Memphis wants to continue making the playoffs. As of early September, the team hasn't given him a big extension yet. A good idea to see if he can consistently stay on the floor and not get hurt. Miami Heat, the team on the older side of the spectrum. I'm not gonna say Duncan Robinson, who's already 27. I don't see Tyler Hero or Bam making that much of a jump, so I'm going with Gabe Vincent, who represented Nigeria for the Olympics, having defensive savvy vet Kyle Lowry. At times, Lowry might just be content to play under 30 minutes a game. Vincent also gained some value from former Heat guard Avery Bradley and his defense, especially how Stephen A. Smith tried to make Gabe Vincent seem irrelevant, even dissing him during Olympic play. You bet Vincent's fired up about that. Milwaukee Bucks, the forgotten player on the title team, Dante DiVincenzo, started all 66 games, averaged over 10, a respectable outside shooter. Being lost after the Miami series seemed to be a big blow, but now he'll have a chance to prove himself and have some 20+ point games at night, a good role player. Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm going with Jalen Norwell, the 43rd pick of the 2019 draft. 15 games in 2020, averaged 9 points off the bench last season. The 22-year-old, after the injuries of Jared Clover, provided an offensive spark, was pretty good in Summer League. Everybody knows D'Lo, Cat, and Ant Edwards, but Norwell's name doesn't provide much noise yet. I can see him make more of an impact than both Pat Beverly and Josh Okogie. New Orleans Pelicans, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 17 pick 2019 class, went from putting up under 6 points to 11 last season. The 23-year-old had valuable experience for Team Canada, solid offensive game, capable of creating his own shot. Look for him to average between 14 to 18 a game and be the team's 3rd best player many nights. New York Knicks, last year was Julius Randle. For 2022, I'm going with Emmanuel Quickley, who was one of the surprising rookies, picked 25th, averaged over 11 points, was lighting up Summer League. The team certainly needs his offense and shot making, got a small glimpse of the postseason. Tibbs simply needs to play him more going forward. Oklahoma City Thunder, year, Luke Dort and SGA technically already had their breakouts. A team nobody outside of diehard Thunder fans gotta watch. I'm going with Darius Bazley. 21-year-old power forward made big improvements from averaging 5.6 points to 13.7 and over 7 boards 31 minutes. If he balls out, his team option worth $4.3 million for 23 this season can elevate his pockets more than 10 times the amount. Could be in for an extension, will be given plenty of opportunities to flourish. Orlando Magic, I'm going with Wendell Carter Jr. at this point. Will have most of the playing time at center over the underachieving Mo Bamba. With Fultz and Jonathan Isaac coming off big injuries, both will make their way to normalcy. It will take a while Carter Jr.'s biggest concern being able to stay healthy, play just 44, 43, and 54 games each of his first 3 years. With Bamba likely to be in continuous trade rumors, a healthy Carter should likely be Orlando starting big going forward. Philadelphia 76ers, who knows the players they will get if they can trade Simmons before the season. I'm going with Paul Reed. After his dominance in Summer League, after limited minutes as a rookie, had a 27, 24, and 4 stat line. Doc Rivers will simply need to call his name more often, with Reed dominating against players his age. Phoenix Suns, pretty much the same team. DeAndre Ayton already broke out in the 21 playoffs. I'm going with Cam Johnson, who is basically the 6th man on the team, will still likely come off the bench as Jay Crowder in his early 30s. Johnson, an instant shot maker, had his moments in the postseason. With the improvement of others, it's Cam's time to make a leap. Portland Trailblazers, Nasir Little, just 21, energy guy, will need increased production and fresh legs in consistent second season due to COVID. The aging Robert Covington won't get the team over the hump. Portland desperately needs guys to step up. Sacramento Kings, I'm going with Terrence Davis. The dysfunctional team will likely miss the playoffs yet again. Marvin Bagley's people made it clear he doesn't want to be in the Kings uniform. Davis averaged over 11 for 27 games off the bench after a season and a half with the Raptors. San Antonio Spurs, Kendall Johnson, getting the experience playing with many stars on Team USA. You bet he's excited to improve his game watching those guys practice. The soon-to-be 22-year will get more opportunities. With DeRozan gone, Derek White and DeJounte Murray didn't make too much progress. Johnson alongside Lonnie Walker should make some improvements likely for the Spurs. Toronto Raptors, 22-year-old Gary Trent Jr. will continue to elevate his game. Fearless shooting from putting up over 15 last season. I can see the two-guard average around 19 and light it up with teammate VanVleet. While Fred, OG, and Siakam already broken out in their own right, the 37th pick in the 2018 class so far, the better player of his Duke teammates from the same class, has made more impact than Wendell Carter, Marvin Bagley, and Grayson Allen so far. Utah Jazz, Udoka Azubuike, still 21, seemed like he played at Kansas forever, has the size and physicality, athletically gifted, big body off the bench, under Gobert, runs the floor well, will have some highlight moments and breakout games to be expected. Washington Wizards, Rui Hachimura, put up double figures in scoring last 15 games, including the postseason, getting more comfortable, especially the 20-point, 13-rebound Game 4 first-round series. Under the radar third-year player has a higher ceiling than Kuzma and Harrell at this point.